This is the Seahawkers Podcast, episode 388. I'm Brandon Schultz of the Military Seahawkers, and joining me, my good buddy and Montana Seahawker, Adam Emmert.
Man, you're a wounded warrior coming through this week for us, man. Appreciate it. I know you're feeling a little under the weather, but this is a first place podcast, buddy. Yeah.
First place podcast, first place team. Can you hear it in my voice? See, I don't know if I sound sick, but I at least sound like I've been screaming at a game. And so I like the feel of that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you got a tiny bit of the cold nasal thing going on, but not bad, man. Yeah, for powering through, I'd give you an A+, man. A lot like the Seahawks team 7 games in. I mean, you got to kind of give them an A+ at this point. I don't know. Maybe that's too much. A-? A?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be an A territory if the defense started off as well as they've played than the last 2 weeks. How do they make this kind of turnaround? I think I saw a tweet out there saying they were worst or near worst in DVOA for defense through the first 4 or 5 games, and then the last 2 games, they're essentially top 2. So, yeah, how do you make that big of a shift in such a short time?
I don't know. Other than what I hear is, from Pete and all the guys talking, well, okay, we made this simpler. Guys are just shooting one gap, just read and react really quick. I think Ryan Neal is a big difference maker out there. A little less Barton helps. I also think it helps that we played a couple teams that are pass happy teams. Yeah. And I think that made a big difference. So, as excited as I am about this defensive turnaround, and I am, I don't want to rain completely on it or anything like that, because, all right, 2 times now I'm starting to believe, but I'm going to have to see more to be totally sold. But there are things, man, that are looking good. Pass rush looking a little bit better.
Yeah.
They have been decent against the run for as much as those 2 teams run. And it's a positive thing to see.
So now that here we are through 7 games, what aspect of the Seahawks maybe are you most surprised about, even coming out of this Chargers game, or maybe as a whole?
Most surprised, I would say the overall consistency of the offensive line.
Yeah.
I thought that they were going to be improved with the rookies and everything, but also they're going to be playing with the rookies in everything. So I really thought there was going to be a lot more up and down than it has been, because this Chargers game, they looked really good. They were really darn good in pass protection as a whole, especially when you contrast it with the way the Broncos offensive line played just the week before against the Chargers. It's night and day. So I do think that you have to say that they're a good, solid unit. So I think that surprises me the most. What would be the thing that surprises you the most?
I mean, I would say Geno has been a surprise.
I know that was the
obvious one.
Answer.
And for me, really, if I were just to pick a group as a whole, it would be the entire rookie class, because I thought dudes were going to be good, but there's 4 or 5 guys that are like legit. You could see them being potential Pro Bowl talents already. And that to me would be a surprise, just seeing that 7 weeks in. And you don't have to look any further than the FedEx Ground Player of the Week with Ken Walker. And he just blew up this game. And it's cool to hear him talked about in the national media. I was hearing from Pro Football Talk where they were comparing him to, not saying that there's been a guy who it appears to be this electric since seeing Adrian Peterson come out all those years ago. And that's pretty high praise, right?
Yeah, that's high praise. Look, I'm definitely one of those guys who's slower to come to like, yes, this guy's good, or this is this, or this is that, as if like, is the defense better? Well, I'm thinking so, but I'm not ready. Is Geno the guy going forward? I'm thinking so, but I'm not ready. I'm kind of slow to warm up to those things, but Ken Walker, the third, I think he's a superstar. I really do. I feel like him as a running back as I did about Josh Allen coming out of the draft when he did.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you were thinking that he was superstar talent even before he got here. And I thought he would be a good running back, just based off his appearance in college. And, but I guess I didn't expect him to be quite this good. And, I guess one of the things that got me thinking about it was talking with Clinton on 3 in 3 Out this week. He was giving props to the offensive line for their run blocking ability in this last game against the Chargers. And I was saying they were adequate, but I don't know if they blew me away with their run blocking ability. It was more what Walker was able to generate on his own, because you saw him getting hands on him 2-3 yards in the backfield, and yet he was still getting back to the line of scrimmage, getting 3 yards. Now, the one really exciting play that got me fired up was when he ran for about 5 or 6 yards, and then you had Abe Lucas get in behind him, and then Phil Haynes, jump in behind him too, and then push him ahead for another 6-yard gain and a 12-yard pickup. And it's like, yeah, that's what I want to see from the offensive line. And I'm not seeing that quite as consistently, or the big time holes. We saw another big run from him where he picked up a first down, where, the hole between Lewis and Cross was itty bitty. And he runs through an arm tackle like it was nothing and gets into the second level and picks up a first down.
Absolutely. I would have completely agreed with you on the way the offensive line played in terms of run blocking. Adequate is a fine word. They were C+, B- as run blockers, not consistently getting that push, but occasionally, creating some gaps, but also too, losing on a few. But you're 100% right. Walker is so shifty, so powerful, so explosive. The touchdown run, when he finally kind of makes that last burst towards the end zone, it's like somebody hit the B button. He really does just have that burst. Probably the run that excited me the most was right at the beginning of the game. I want to say it was the Seahawks' first drive. He gets the handoff, runs up to the line of scrimmage. It's kind of muddled. And then he almost takes a seat, like he squats down
right
so low, his butt damn near touches the ground, and then explodes to the left and is just around the corner, and he's got 10. And when you see guys that have that sort of low center of gravity and those thighs and that butt to make those sorts of cuts, that's the type of stuff that gets me super fired up and go, I think this guy is a bona fide superstar. I really do. I think they hit a gigantic home run on Ken Walker III. And he's going to be battling for who's the best rookie out of this class.
He might already be in a battle with who is the best running back in the NFL right now. I think we're going to be having that discussion here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, like I said on the reaction show, I really love the idea of not having to give up an entire draft and then 3 years of cap hell to get that talented of a running back. Pick him up just for a second. That works for me. And then
and you're talking about the Christian McCaffrey trade by the San Francisco 49ers, where they give up.
No, the Christian McCaffrey disaster. You said trade. I thought I heard you say trade. The disaster. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The trade disaster. I was just trying to keep it short and concise, but a trade disaster I think it's appropriate. And I think what compounded that disaster was seeing the New York Jets just a couple days later make a deal for James Robinson for a 6th round pick that could upgrade to a 5th round pick.
Right.
And did the 49ers not know? I'm ecstatic that James Robinson's going to the Jets and not the Niners or the Rams for that type of compensation.
That's exactly it. I'm not anti-Christian McCaffrey. That's one of the things that I thought in the little video that I did that maybe kind of came out of that was that I didn't think McCaffrey's any good. And that's not the case at all. I think McCaffrey's a hell of a player. I really do. I just don't think he can stay on the field. And I don't think he's worth anywhere close to all that draft capital in a little over 10 million a year against the cap. I don't see that value. You talk about James Robinson, if he ends up with the Niners for a 6th or a 5th, yeah, that's a smart trade. I don't think James Robinson is a world beater of a running back, but he's pretty good.
Yeah.
He's fine. In that San Francisco system, he'd be pretty good. I think that would have been a much better value play for them going forward. But, they're they're afraid of losing their jobs. If this season turns into a disaster, they could easily be gone. I don't care what Niner fan seems to think, oh, they're not going anywhere. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure Jed York has just loved what he's seen there. But not only that, but now to be trailing in the division to the Seahawks after they go out and beat the Chargers, Geno being MVP and having another amazing game. Not amazing, a very good, solid game. And that run game of Ken Walker paired with Geno, I just feel like this is so sustainable, this offense, that they're going to be in the mix going down the stretch.
It's the defense that I'm more concerned with down the stretch. I just need to see it more. But you're absolutely right in terms of the offense being sustainable. Shoot, we saw DK Metcalf go out in this game against the Chargers, and the offense didn't miss a beat. You know, they went with more tight end sets. Marquise Goodwin had a game, 2 touchdown catches on the day. Tyler Lockett was his normal self, you know, picking up some big third down catches on the day, and you know, just being that clutch type guy that Geno can look to in those particular moments. So you brought up MVP Clinton Bonner on our recap show when we were doing our quick reaction. He was polling the chat room as we were talking about it, and the preferred I guess survey results said that MV Geno was preferred over MVP
by approximately how many?
I don't know what the actual results are. I trust Clinton to be able to do an accurate count of the votes.
Yeah, I know, but what if it was 4 people who voted? That seems awfully skewed. Like we had Leo from over in Europe there be like, I like the MVP because it reminds me of like Pinot, the wine.
Oh,
it only gets early ages, gets, what is it? The fine wine age. What's the saying?
Ages like something fine wine. Yeah.
Ages like fine wine. There you go. Yeah. So yeah, MVP. I'm sticking to it. Don't care. A lot of people probably didn't approve of the Let's Ride curse when I came up with that, but turns out that needed to stick for obvious reasons. MVP. It rolls off the tongue better than MV Geno.
There's just, and it's not like Geno is vying for the MVG. He's vying for MVP at this point. So
if people want to go with MV Geno when they're writing into the show and joining the discussion and all that stuff in the comments, have at it. I don't mind it. I'm not mad about it. I'm just telling you what I'm going to do going forward. Yeah.
I just wanted to get your thoughts since it was something that was discussed and we didn't bring it up in our live reaction.
They're not the boss of me.
They're part of the flock. They have input.
I know they are kind of the boss of me.
Well, there were a lot of injuries in this game. We brought up DK Metcalf. We saw concussions to Nick Bellore. We saw Phil Haynes coming out of the game. Saw DK walking around after practice. Pete Carroll saying that DK won't need surgery. Apparently he did not practice on Wednesday, but he was up and walking around. So I think there is some unknown as to when we might see him, if we'll see him playing in this game coming up, or if he might need a couple weeks to come back. But patella injury, and yeah, you don't want him coming back too early, obviously, but whatever works for him.
Sounds like DK wants to play. He's like, yeah, no, I'm fine. They're definitely going to have to save him from himself here. There's no way I want to see him against the New York Football Giants. We don't need him for that team. We really don't. Like, I'd much rather take 2, 3, 4, however many weeks to be sure he's completely all right this year and then be loaded up for next year and really going for it.
Again, like we saw against the Chargers, I think that they have the type of offense that can, even with the matchups going up against the Giants, it may work out better to put more tight ends out there, or to have Marquise Goodwin be a bigger part of the offense, or maybe D. Eskridge stops fumbling the football and we can actually use him as a weapon in some situations.
That'd be amazing. Turnovers the only bugaboo in this game with the Chargers, right? The Geno pick, and I don't know who you place that on. To me, that's one of those. You could throw it there. You can. You might get it in there, but it's an extremely tight window throw, and usually the result's going to be an incomplete pass. He got the worst, outcome that you can get with the interception. Now, with that said, Is that on Geno? Yeah, that's still on Geno.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are trying to kind of give the blame to either just better defense or, maybe Tyler should have done more or whatever it was. But I think that one's on Geno. But that's third of the year? I mean, you're going to get got every now and then.
That's one that normally falls incomplete, but just the way it popped up. He's done pretty well. So it's tough to get mad at Geno, right? I mean, he hasn't had a lot of interceptions this year.
Which leads me to our weekly discussion of, are you ready to ride with Geno next year and not draft a quarterback and throw it all at defense? And I realize that the question needs to change.
Oh.
Not are you ready? Not if I'm ready. Do you think Pete's ready? Because I think it's catfish obvious at this point.
I just know that I've seen enough. I feel like based on how we hear Pete talk about Geno, I feel like he would be content with rolling with him. Yeah. Why not?
I think there is a 0% chance, 3% chance that Pete goes away from Geno for next year and they look to draft a quarterback really high. They may draft him later on down the board or something with some later picks or things like that. But I don't think they're going to go for that first round replacement to Geno. I really don't. Even if, let's say Geno regressed for the remainder of the year, right? The last half of this season, he would have to become what Russ is now for weeks and weeks and weeks. And you even saw earlier in Russ's career when Russ would fizzle a little bit down the stretch and everything, Pete wasn't just ready to move on to the next guy right away. He was always looking at the positives.
I don't think I would be that definitive about it because let's say that the Seahawks end up with a top 5 or 6 pick from the Broncos. Let's say there's a quarterback the caliber of Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes that either people are sleeping on or the Seahawks are just in position to make that pick. Okay.
So let me throw this back at you, though.
Sure.
Let's say that quarterback is sitting there. What if there is an edge rusher along the lines of one of the Bosas, Von Miller,
right?
Khalil Mack, one of those guys? How do you think that conversation goes between John and Pete?
That's a good battle to have right there. Because I think that John would probably defer more toward the quarterback, whereas Pete would say, let's improve the defense because, look, we've got a quarterback that can run this offense effectively and efficiently. Why would we change that? And if Ken Walker is the guy that looks like the guy he can potentially be, the offense goes through him. And so the quarterback really is, you just need that facilitator. And Geno has shown that he can be that and more.
And consider the fact that maybe you end up with Penny as your number 2 again next year. And that's your 1-2 punch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Penny not getting as many carries and all that. Maybe you might get a season out of him. Maybe half season. I don't know. But yeah, I would be more inclined if I'm Pete Carroll in the way that he thinks to get that stud defender that they never are in position to get. No. He hasn't gotten to have a bite at that apple almost his whole tenure as a Seahawks head coach.
The closest they came was when they had the number 12 draft pick it was when they took Bruce Irvin. Was that the 2012 draft?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a 12 draft.
They had the opportunity to take Fletcher Cox and they traded back. And so that would be kind of that one guy, not the edge rusher. Obviously he was a guy in the middle, but I suppose when you're talking about edge guys, they haven't been in position. Not like as many times as Frisco has been there.
I wouldn't be stunned if, say they get a top 5 pick, that they wouldn't trade back out of that to some quarterback desperate team to pick up even more picks.
Oh, sure.
I wouldn't be shocked by that for a second.
Especially if you're looking at future firsts, even.
And you think your Geno window's 3 to 5 years?
And it's the Broncos pick, so it's kind of a free pick anyway, and just use that as a chip to gain even more. I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
I would be upset, though, if they traded back and the pick that they missed on, that they missed taking with that, turned out to be the Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes type, or, a superstar pass rusher type.
Yeah.
Because I think that when you're drafting that high, you want to get a guy who is going to impact your team and franchise for the long term.
Which leads me to my second question that I had for you regarding all this stuff. I didn't know. I don't mean to get us like way out of the off our skis here, away from the Chargers game, but we talked a lot about it in the instant reaction. You and Clinton went over quite a bit of it, so a lot of people know our thoughts.
It's late in the week. People, I feel like most of us have been excited about the Chargers game and are thinking about other topics anyway.
So I saw the video of Levine. Is it Aaron Levine?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Talented broadcaster. I've liked what he's done with the Seahawks over the years. What he's done in the Washington area as a broadcaster. Seems like an overall good dude. I usually like what he says and all that. Comes out with a video. Is the Russell Wilson trade the greatest heist ever in the NFL?
Ooh, ever.
I think, or, it's something along those lines. Yeah. The greatest heist in NFL history or something like that.
It's probably in the top 5. I mean, you're talking just the way things are looking right now.
Sure.
There's the Herschel Walker trade.
Yes, absolutely. Herschel Walker to the Vikings from the Cowboys.
There's the Mike Ditka draft where he took Ricky Williams.
Right.
Pretty good heist.
That wasn't necessarily really a big trade. Well, I guess that's a heist in some ways, or maybe that's just a blown shot. I don't know.
Number 3 that comes to mind would be the Carolina Panthers fleecing the Niners for Christian McCaffrey.
That's a big one. You think about, Joe Montana to the Chiefs, just some of the bigger, splashier things that have happened. Some people might put the Jamal Adams deal in there.
Sure.
For the Jets.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. So I started thinking about that and I gave that a good think. And I was like, you know what? Maybe, but you can't say anything about this definitively for like 4 years.
Oh, for sure.
Because to me, it's like, all right, if this is going to be the greatest heist ever in the NFL in terms of a trade, then I think, to me, that it's the Herschel Walker trade. That's the one. Because all that Dallas got in return for Walker, who was good for 2 years for the Vikings, and was a star player when he got traded. There's no doubt. All those picks turned into 3 Super Bowls. So I don't think that you can sit and judge this trade as being superior to that one until about 4 or 5 years down the line. If this turns into a dynasty because of this trade and all the draft picks that come out of it and the retooling, yeah, then it's in the discussion. But if it hasn't, which it hasn't, obviously, we're 7 games into this thing, I don't think you can say that at all.
Well, I guess the next question with that would be, where would it even rank in terms of greatest Seahawks trades? Because you have the Rick Meyer trade where
true,
they got over on the Bears, sending Rick Meyer away, and you end up with, let's see, was that the one that they got Tez and Sean Springs out of the draft, or was it Walter Jones?
I don't recall.
Was Tez already on the team? It was 90s.
It's a long ass time ago, man.
Yeah. No, it was Walter Jones that they got out of it because, Tez was picked up in 92. And so,
there you go.
He would have already been on the team. So, I think it was Walter Jones and I want to say Sean Springs that they got out of that draft based on making that trade with the Bears. Even for just Walter Jones. I mean, that's your top franchise guy. The other one would be trading for Marshawn Lynch.
I mean, that's a gigantic one, no doubt about it. Changed the entire direction of a team. How about Hasselbeck? How about acquiring Hasselbeck from the Packers? That's a big ass deal.
And I think that was probably fair compensation for them, though. It's not like any one side was fleeced in the.
No, nobody was fleeced. I just saying there's
in terms of the impact on the team, right?
Yeah, I mean that was massive. Shoot, I mean, if you're the Vikings, you probably point to the Percy Harvin deal, right?
Well, that was one where we got fleeced.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not always roses, man.
No.
But it did bring a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm not mad about that.
No.
I mean, obviously, we wouldn't want to see the Jamal Adams deal based on what we've seen so far. That feels like a bad deal for us right now.
Yeah. I mean, there's the health component's the biggest issue of that. That's a lot how I feel about that McCaffrey deal.
Yeah, although I don't know when the deal was made if I was that concerned about Jamal Adams' health issues. Was it that?
No.
Yeah.
No, he would been a very healthy player and a young guy too. So you're thinking that you're getting a prime guy at that point with a lot of play. Now, why not having the injury history, he has had the injury since he's been here. I would be surprised if McCaffrey can go 2-3 years without a similar fate.
That would be a surprise, but they need that for it to work out. So
yeah,
good luck, Niners. Looking forward to the new regime coming in behind Shanahan, or maybe not.
Well, I think it could be good in the short term for them, at least for the next 6-7 games. But I just think the limitations that Garoppolo provides at quarterback it's just too limiting when it's all said and done. Like even with McCaffrey.
So while we're on the topic of trades, I was listening to the Around the NFL podcast this week, and one of the trades that they suggested as potentially beneficial for both sides is sending Jimmy Garoppolo to the Patriots for Mac Jones.
No.
Who says no in that situation?
Both.
Okay.
Well, I don't get that for a second. Like Mac Jones, I don't think is going to be all that great. That's how I felt coming out of the draft. He had a good rookie year. He struggled since. Zappy Hour might be taking over there in New England too. And I liked Zappy coming out. I did.
Uh-huh.
I thought he was a good late round flyer to take for sure. But what upgrade do you get with Garoppolo over Mac or Zappy if you're Bill Belichick? And not only that, but Garoppolo seems to be the guy that a lot of those 49ers like seem to rally around. He's gotten into a championship game, into a Super Bowl. Like, you think Mac Jones is doing that?
I think with that, though, it's a way for the franchise to reset itself and say, there are all those rumors surrounding Shanahan as to Mac Jones being the guy who he really wanted. And so this is a
gossip trade. This is a gossip trade.
It probably is. And I don't think it would happen either. It was just the hypothetical of it intrigued me enough to pass it along to you.
Well, I mean, I could see why it tickled your brain, but no.
Well, for fun, one, it's them saying that they made a mistake on going with Lance and not just drafting Jones anyway, which, it could be that neither of them are that great.
Yeah.
But I suppose you would still have that opportunity for the two of them to compete next year if you were to make that move. They've already signaled that they don't think that Garoppolo is part of their future already by, not having him at training camp the entire offseason. And then once they couldn't make a deal happen, bringing him back to the team and waiting until an injury to put him back in there. So maybe the Patriots too. Maybe they aren't that sold on Mac, and Garoppolo and Zappy would be a good competition.
This just seems like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic for no reason.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're the Niners, like, you're trying to win now, right? That's what I've been told. So you break up the continuity that Jimmy brings and the familiarity that you have there to bring in Mac Jones, who nobody's sold on or certain about, to then maybe compete with Trey the next year. Like, and even if you've already signaled that Garoppolo isn't a part of your future, what's the problem with getting rid of him the next year?
The thing is with Garoppolo, though, we're seeing it now. It's a consistency issue. You don't know which Jimmy you're getting week to week.
Right.
And I don't know if bringing in Mac Jones fixes that part of it at all.
Why would Bill want Jimmy back? I don't see where the upside is for him there. Does he get Jimmy and picks? Well, the Niners don't have any picks to trade.
No, they gave them all away. No, I think they have some 3rd-round picks left.
Yeah,
they got a lot of comp picks.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just a fun thought. I don't think it would happen. We probably just wasted a bunch of time. But
no, whatever, Ben. It's fun to think about some of these things.
Shane Turner not wasting our time with his comment saying, so the Hawks have already hit the win record I would have been happy with this year. Now, top of the division.
Top of the division. I think I said, 7 wins, 8 wins? or whatever it was.
7,
whatever
8.
Pete's least amount of wins that he's ever had
7.
as a Seahawks head coach. Okay.
He's gone 7-9 twice.
Then that's what I chose. And, if you think about it, man, you get 2 out of these next 3 and the playoffs or the division look really enticing. Like you can almost go 500 the rest of the way and have 10 wins, which I think is ample in the NFC. Shoot, 9 wins might be ample in the NFC this year, with as diluted as it seems to be
in the division, NFC West. Yeah, it's
the whole conference.
I don't know that. I feel like one of those teams in the East right now is going to come out with a bunch of wins somehow.
It'll be the Eagles.
Probably. They've just made a big trade for Robert Quinn this week.
That'll help their deal a little bit. I think he's past his prime, a good deal, but
he's still
he can be a solid. He's okay. He's an average guy now.
If I were to say pick Robert Quinn or Bruce Irvin, which one do you bring into the team?
Bruce Irvin came to the team for cash. I'll take Bruce.
Yeah, it's smart to take into account compensation. But much like
a lot of people don't.
Christian McCaffrey, yes, he's better than James Robinson. If you're doing schoolyard style, who you taking?
Oh, McCaffrey for one game, 100%. Yes.
No, I mean, I meant the exercise with Bruce Irvin and Robert Quinn.
I take Robert Quinn just because I would think that he has been playing more consistently over the last 2 years.
Okay.
Just in terms of health more than anything.
Okay. I have to see if we're on the same page. We are.
But I don't think it's a massive difference. I don't.
Well, what do you say we get into this preview with the New York Giants?
Mm-hmm.
Before we get there, though, cheers to you, sir. I see you are also drinking your liquid death during the show. I have severed lime. Once again, my favorite flavor. And what do you got?
I've got the straight up sparkling. So one of the things that I like so much about the liquid death stuff is that there's some that are much sweeter than others for people, say like you, who have a bit more of a sweet tooth than I do. I'm not into the sweet stuff hardly at all. It's just not my jam.
Right.
And then they've got things like just a straight up sparkling, which is unbelievably refreshing. And I don't have to deal with the aftertaste of something super sweet. There's something for everybody. And the way I know that it is for everybody is that other recluse Brandon, my neighbor, him and his brother and his fiance, his younger brother's fiance, came up, and I had just acquired some of the liquid death. They had sent some out to me.
Right.
And these are people that would definitely not be into the kind of the general marketing that liquid death kind of has going on, right? Like they're hermits in the woods, but hey man, passed it out. They all enjoyed it very much. They even took a bunch more home with them because they're like, can we have some more? I was like, yeah, man, because your thirst might get out of control and you may need to murder it.
You can go get liquid death at your local Albertsons, Fred Meyer, Target, or Chevron Extra Mile, or find a liquid death retailer near you with their store locator tool at liquiddeath.com/Hawkra. That's liquiddeath.com/Hawkra, HAWKRA. And there's a couple good reasons to go to the website in particular. One, it lets them know that you're hearing about the product from us, and you can find out where to go to buy it. It's a win-win.
Absolutely. Win-win.
So let's get into this game against the Giants. When I brought up to you this past weekend, Adam, about maybe the particular challenge that Daniel Jones poses, in addition to Saquon Barkley, you were very insistent on not caring about Jones as much and really wanting to dial in on Saquon. Now that it's a little bit later in the week, has your stance shifted?
Well, interesting. You'd bring that up for the my stance on the prove that you're actually for real bowl. That's what this game is to me. We're going to find out. This is when one of these teams is going to take a step forward and be like, yeah, nope, we're going to make a run going down the stretch here. And I don't think it's any way that it's the New York Giants. I really don't. I mean, this is such a fraud of a 5-1, 6-1.
So you're already saying that the Giants are not for real.
But they're not for real.
Okay, well, what if they
not
win?
For real.
If they beat the Seahawks, you're also going to be saying, well, they're not for real. We just had a bad game, or maybe this team isn't quite.
If they beat the Seahawks, I will say the Seahawks are not for real.
So you aren't ready to declare the winner as a team that is for real. Just that the
national media will.
Just that the loser of the game is not for real.
What I'm saying, in the national media, the narrative is going to be whichever team wins this game is going to be the one that is, quote, for real. I don't think the Giants are for real at all. And to get back to your question of when I catfish all over the idea that you have to worry about Daniel Jones. So I went back and I watched some stuff, and I just needed to tell you that you were right and I was wrong. Danny Dimes is running a lot. He's running a lot.
A lot.
And I don't know about you, Brandon, but did you come away from watching that Giants offense and think, this is a college offense?
It is, but the thing that worries me about it is that Taysom Hill running the offense with the New Orleans Saints is kind of a college-y type gimmicky thing that crushed this defense just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, which is basically the Wildcat, right? Whereas this is more, it's a lot of RPOs.
Right.
They've run a crap ton of option football and RPOs, man.
It is. And Jones is really good at hitting those quick hitters right over the middle.
Yeah. And that's just it. That's their entire offense. It's an RPO or, just a read option run. And then if he is going to throw it, it is a slant or to the outside. Route.
Yeah. To the 5 yard out.
That's it. That's their entire offense. Like, if you look at this game, this Giants offense is quite literally the antithesis of the last two offenses that we played. Herbert threw it for over 50 odd sometimes this last week. Kyler Murray threw it for a crap ton when we played him last, and they barely run the ball. And they've been that way for years. This is the exact opposite of that. If we want to find out if this run defense is really that improved, we're about to. Because Saquon's legit, man. Saquon looks real good.
He's Alvin Kamara in his prime, or maybe even better. So, yeah, that part worries me in this game.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a tough guy to bring down. We're finally seeing he's a lot like how we thought of Rashad Penny, right? There's so many years where he's getting injured. He's not living up to the hype. Here he is in his contract year, and he's tearing up the league and everybody that comes up against the Giants. And it makes it so much easier for Daniel Jones because, one, he's really good at carrying the football. He's super fast. And then he's able to make enough of those short throws. And I guess he makes enough downfield throws that defenses respect them not going.
I don't know why.
I don't know why either. But I also think that the way Pete Carroll operates is that he's going to be one of those coaches that he's going to still be worried about getting beat deep. And it's going to be one, maybe two passes that go beyond 20 yards on the day.
You don't think that Reek and Mike Jackson or whoever is going to be on the other side can't stay over the top of the, depleted Giant receiving core? I don't think they need much safety help. I think it's going to be a lot of single high with Quandre.
I would expect big games from Ryan Neal and Quandre Diggs, because it's going to be up to those guys to be that second guy that hits Saquon. You're not getting them down generally with just one guy. You're going to need them to come in and clean it up.
Yep. So it's going to be a big bring your hat to work day for Al Woods, Quentin Jefferson, Puna, like those guys up front. We're going to see, is this one gap stuff? Is this really the answer? Does it really make it so that everybody flies the ball? Are you able to disrupt enough doing that to keep guys off of Brooks so that he can fly to the ball and make a tackle? Because Jordan Brooks is going to have a lot of tackles in this game.
Yeah, Jordan Brooks. I even think Cody Barton. One of the things that folks are going to hear, we already recorded the What If show for the week, and we got to talking about, because going into the season, you would say this would be the perfect game to have Quandre Diggs, Jamal Adams, and Ryan Neal as those, you're playing some big nickel. You don't have Jamal Adams. So I think you're still going to want Cody Barton on the field. I think you're still going to want Kobe Bryant on the field for a game like this, who seems to be adept at going for those strip tackles.
And also a extremely hit or miss tackler. Right. I don't know how many times in the Discord throughout the last game, the Chargers game, I was like, "Oh, great tackle, Kobe!" Like,
and then you're a little like, sarcastic. Hey, great tackle, Kobe.
Yeah, and then after about 3 of those, and it was like, "Oh, there was an actual great tackle, Kobe. Good job." God, he is so up and down.
He's a 4th round pick. See, this is the way that I feel like the expectation in terms of rookies. The problem that Kobe has is that all of the other rookies are exceeding expectations. And he's probably like what you would normally expect from a 4th round type pick.
I expected more from him. I thought he'd be so much more polished.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah, I just, yeah. Anyways, so yeah, you're going to see a lot of Kobe out there probably. And it's going to be an interesting test for this defense to make that 3rd game in a row of improvement, because this is a very one-dimensional team, man. And they're 31st in the league in passing, or 29th or something like that, depending on when the stats were updated, whenever.
It works for them.
Sure. I mean, they had no business winning that game against the Jaguars.
They take advantage of their opportunities. I mean, the Jaguars put the ball on the ground right before the goal line. They had a late hit on Daniel Jones that took away a pick that they would have had later on in the game that would have probably helped them seal that game. And they just, the way that Saquon and Jones were both running in the 4th quarter, though, that defense didn't have an answer for it.
No, but they're not a good defense either.
No.
I'm not saying that we are. I'm hoping that we are. I'm thinking we might be. But we're going to find out. The other thing, too, Giants defense is terrible against the run. Terrible, especially on the edges. So I think that Ken Walker and crew could have themselves a day. And if they can do that, it might help mitigate the fact that they're 4th in the league in red zone TD percentage. The Giants are on defense.
Oh, really?
And the Seahawks have not been great in the red zone. We score a lot from outside of the red zone. We're going to need a lot more than big plays. I think if they get to 27 points, this game is over.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if I expect it, though, because one of the things is looking at the weather report going into this game. It looks like it's going to be rainy in Seattle for like the next 4 or 5 days.
Is it not? It's going to be nice here this weekend. Is it not going to be nice there?
I don't think so. Last I checked, there was an 80% chance of rain on Sunday, which means it's probably going to rain.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, we'll see. But I don't know, man. I'm excited for the Giants. They deserve a little bit of happiness in their lives for a hot second. I think Dable's a hell of a coach. I thought that was a good hire when they made it. There's no way Daniel Jones is legit. There's no way that defense is legit. There's no way that they're one loss legit. There's just not. Like, they've eked out wins. They had the big comeback win over the Packers. That's the only one that's impressive. The rest of them are lucky dog fights. They have been coming up roses this year at the early there. This is the Arizona Cardinals that went 7-0 and then imploded good. That's what team this is.
Yeah. Judging at what time it's going to implode is another part of that, because what we've seen from this team too with Seattle, there's these moments where they make these boneheaded moves that let teams back in the game. We saw it with the Chargers. They were rolling and then they allow a touchdown. And then right after the Chargers get a touchdown, they put the ball on the ground that allows them to get right back within 3 points.
Yep. And then towards the end of the game, when you're like, oh, okay, we'll be cruising along, they get pinned back by the goal line, give up a safety, and you're like, oh, this is how
here we go. Yeah. Chargers score on that drive, and it's a totally different ball game.
Hey, maybe the key to this game is just to not have a freaking special teams unraveling. Like, just at some point in this game, like, just hold it together.
Hold it together. Just be okay. Put Tyler Lockett out there to just fair catch punts, for gosh sake.
I can guarantee this game will be stressful still somehow, because this team can just not play normal football, which is so unbelievably frustrating. But it is the MO of this team, man.
The other thing it potentially reminds me of is that game against the Titans, where you think that you're well out of reach from a potential comeback, and they just keep doing what they're good at, which is running the football, and they manage to get back into it, even being down in the fourth quarter. So I don't know at what point with a lead I'm really going to feel comfortable.
I don't know. Hit 27 points, I'll feel pretty
Hit 27 points. Yeah, 27 points. That's an outstanding number for this game.
It could even be 24. And the Seahawks actually favored in a game for once.
Early line was 2 points, I think. So not the full home field advantage, but I think they did. I think ultimately that it is up to 3 last I checked. That
seems more about right. And the Giants have not had a lot of success in Seattle, man. We usually handle them. Yeah.
That's that East Coast to West Coast trip.
It's just too hard for them.
It's too hard. I mean, maybe if the players would get up and do some stretches and some high knees in the aisles during the trip, maybe that
I don't even know if that would solve them. I mean, maybe if you're crossing the pond, that's the thing to do, but yeah. How is that a story that came out, by the way?
I'll save it because I think I want to get into it and do better.
Okay.
Other guys that just names to consider when you're looking at this Giants team. I liked watching the tape. I liked what I saw from their rookie, Wan'Dale Robinson, who plays in the slot generally at receiver. Shifty guy. Evan Neal, their right tackle, unfortunately, is going to be out. Daniel Bellinger, their tight end, their starting tight end, hurt. Also, Kenny Golladay is out, I think. Kadarius Toney, their first-round pick from last year. So they have some injuries they're dealing with. They got the top 5 pass rusher that I think Seahawks fans were kind of hoping would slip to us. Kayvon Thibodeau.
Not this one.
No. I
didn't think he was that great.
I said Seahawks fans in general.
Okay.
There were some. You weren't in that group. You're outside of the Venn diagram on that one.
I watched two Giants games here to prep a little for this show, and he popped off the screen 0 times.
That was interesting. I watched the 2 most recent games, and I didn't see much of him either.
And I'm sure everybody in the Pacific Northwest would love to see somebody from Oregon take the loss there, right?
Except for, Oregon fans who are Seahawks fans, but yeah.
But, Seattle fans.
Right.
They're UW fans.
I'm just saying, there's the overlap in that country. There's a lot of Seahawks fans that are Washington State fans, that are University of Washington fans, that are also University of Oregon fans. It's, some people even like Eastern Washington, which is crazy.
Yeah, there's some people, the only taste they have is in their mouth too. So
I love our Eastern Washington listeners. They know we give them grief.
I love our listeners. I just hate that crappy school and their stupid program and their ugly ass field.
Other than that,
and Cooper Kupp, and I hate Cooper fucking Kupp.
Well, mostly because he's with the Rams. I mean, he would be amazing if he were on our team.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about what is, not what if. This isn't what if, Brandon. You save that for Phil.
No, that's true. That's later in the week. All right. Well, we can't get to what if without getting to the second half of the show. So let's get there. All right, Adam, as we get into the second half of the show, hey, thanks for helping hold down the fort with all the other shows. I know some people, they were bummed that I didn't call in from the road to do this show last week, but I'm grateful for everybody.
I just want to point that out. I just want to point out that I do.
That you're mad at me?
No, I'm just kidding. Catfish!
I think it is the first show. I don't know. Have we missed a show during the week, during the regular? We might have. It might not be the first.
It's less you can count them on one hand. That's for darn sure.
Yeah. We have over 10 years. We have not missed very many in-season shows between the two of us.
Exactly.
But one thing that's changed, we got a lot of other shows throughout the week. So hopefully people weren't bored.
I don't think they were. We had a good time while you were gone. I mean, it's nice having you back and all. Definitely need you, man. But we had fun.
Well, you might just end up carrying my spot in What If more often. Now, I might have to feed you better wishes and better predictions for the games because I was ahead of Clinton 3-1 in my predictions, And then I come back to find out that I'm tied with Clinton 3-3. So thanks for that.
Well, you forgot about the disqualifying ones that you made, the predictions that you made, where you picked against your own freaking team.
I never picked against my team. I never.
That's not what I was told. That is not what I was told.
A prediction is not a pick. A prediction is just a prediction.
Oh, that's a semantics man over here. Okay.
Well, what else are you supposed to do when somebody says, hey, predict the score for this game, and you actually have an idea of what you think the score might be?
You pick your team to win.
I always pick my team to win.
No, you don't.
I don't always predict my team to win. Like if I go into a week, I want to let listeners know that there's a chance that we might not win that game.
I imagine that your wife loves the way that you argue.
I will take that as you taking your concession.
I didn't say that you were fat. I said that you were less than skinny. Or some nonsense.
All right. Kyler Murray helped out by the fact that he's got his receiver back this last week. The Arizona Cardinals able to beat the New Orleans Saints to hang in there.
That was a dumb game. Such a dumb game. Like, come on. Red Rifles screwed us. Like, the Saints always are screwing us, man. That team is so maddening. God, he threw just a couple bad picks. Bad picks that allowed the Cardinals to really come away with that game. They had no business winning it.
At least the Chiefs did what they were supposed to do. I got a little bit concerned, though, when the Niners got out to the early, 10-0 lead?
Yeah.
But then they get boat raced by the Chiefs from there on out.
Exactly. No, thanks a lot to the Chiefs there, man. I really appreciate, what do they call that? Chiefs Kingdom? Is that what they call it?
I think it's Chiefs Kingdom, yeah.
Okay. Well, big
Broncos
shout out
country
to Chiefs
and Chiefs Kingdom. What's San Diego or Los Angeles?
Nobody cares.
San Diego, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why we can say San Diego and that's okay.
Yeah, I guess there wasn't a replacement team, was there? They just need to go back. Quit fighting it.
I know, it's too hard on us.
Yeah.
All right. Rams, they didn't play. They had their bye this last week.
Yeah, they needed it too. All banged up. That offensive line is in shambles. Matt Stafford looks like old Lions Matt Stafford. His elbow's about to fall off. They can't run the football. They're screwed. They're about ready to plummet and just tank for the rest of the year. And we get to laugh with glee. We're going to sweep the LA teams this year.
So really, they're not helped at all by the early bye, is what you're saying.
I don't know. It helped me. Made me feel better about their team.
Well, what I'm saying is that now they don't have any types of buys unless.
No.
I mean, there's no way that they're going to rattle off enough wins to get the first seed at this point.
But the only thing I can give the Rams credit for this week is for helping to drive up the price, apparently, on the McCaffrey trade.
Yeah.
If you believe that nonsense.
And then being all out on the James Robinson deal for whatever reason.
Right.
Why would you?
He's okay.
I know, but he's an upgrade over anybody the Rams have.
I don't know. Guess he's a little better than.
I'd rather have him than Akers.
Yeah.
And isn't Akers hurt now?
Seems like it. Yeah. Yeah, he's better than Henderson. That's for sure.
And they don't have a problem giving away picks if they were in with the McCaffrey trade.
Yeah, F them picks.
Exactly.
Nothing bad will ever happen.
I am so happy that those two teams have now traded so much away because it's going to take them being bad in a season where they actually get to have their first round pick to where they can recover.
This is going to be a rolling disaster, right? So this is the last year that the Rams can hold together some sort of competitiveness. Then it's just going to be a train wreck for about 3 years. The Niners have about one more year after this one, and then it's just going to kind of crater. They're just offset a little bit.
They still have potential though, because they have guys like Kittle and Debo, and it depends on if Lance can develop in the next 2 years.
Sure.
I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, it does. It's a great bet. I'm really glad that they took that bet.
And the reason why they can stay in it, though, is because they have a really good defense and they've drafted well on defense.
Yeah, for now, those guys get hurt and you got to pay them and you can't keep everybody and that stuff, you have to pay the mortgage someday.
Right.
Someday you have to.
Yeah, I thought we were paying it this year, but it turns out that maybe we paid it last year.
No, we just we got a mortgage relief program and got Russell out of town. Instead of Freddie May or Fannie Mac or whatever they call him, it was George Payton.
Yeah, that's it's definitely worked out. And people were saying that you had to do that to make up for the Jamal Adams trade. Maybe that's the case, but it did work out. We saw that the Let's Ride curse still in effect, even without Russell Wilson on the field. So, ripping, not good.
I want to know how 16 became a part of the Let's Ride curse, but it surely is. Like either the Broncos they can't score more than 16 or score 16, or their opponent always ends up like 16 is a number in every one of their games somehow.
4 out of 7 of their games has 16. Well, and the funny thing is the one against Vegas, it was 32, which is doubling up 16.
There it is. Yeah. I just texted Jared. I was like, how sick of you are 16 yet? He's like, I hate my life. At least I have Sundays free now. But then he still watches.
The one time this year the Broncos have scored more than 16, their opponent hit 32.
I saw somebody post that there was rumors that if they don't win in London here this next week, that Hackett could be gone. So I asked Bronco Jared about that too. I was like, well, what's your sense on that? And he's like, yeah, man, it's in the air. Like there's guys that are talking. I was like, okay. I was like, no, don't fire Hackett. He's great for our deal. I mean, Hackett for coach of the year. Keep him going.
Yeah, you gotta let the guy at least have 1 year, right?
Yeah, please. Please. Please.
Or could Russell Wilson get 2 head coaches fired in 1 year?
Ooh, maybe. So get Hackett fired. And then, well, I guess he technically got Fangio fired. No. Yeah, he signed after Fangio was fired.
He did.
But so what you're saying is that he gets Hackett fired and then the interim guy comes in and doesn't do much better and he gets the interim guy fired?
Yeah. He goes through 2 coaches in 1 year.
Russell Wilson, coach killer.
I mean, he was offensive coordinator killer when he was in Seattle.
That's a true fact.
So
it's a true fact. Man, it is interesting for everybody to kind of see it was more the Seahawks and Pete propping him up than maybe the other way around, or at least later on. But yeah.
The other thing that I saw that a potential big move for the Broncos if they don't win in London against Jacksonville, there's a report out there saying that Bradley Chubb could get traded.
Yeah, I talked to Bronco Jared about that too. I was like, "Are you guys going to fire sale this?" And he's like, "Yeah, might as well. Jeez, just get rid of it all." I'm just sitting there thinking,
well, the thing with Chubb, though, is that he's in a contract year. If they somehow don't see him as a guy who is either worth giving a big time deal to, or if they see him leaving anyway, then why not get something for him?
Is he a top 5 edge rusher?
I don't think so. And that's what
I don't either.
That's what makes me think that it might be a good time to move on if the Broncos could get a 1st round pick for him.
And that's the money he's going to want. I asked him, I was like, hey, Jared, we'll flip you a 3rd for Browning, the other edge rusher, the young guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a hard no.
No, he's good. He likes him too much.
Yeah. He's really good.
Yeah. Well, we've got some super people who are part of our flock. They went to getintheflock.com to help support the show. And we're kicking things off with our executive producers, DCH, Dustin Mock, Brian Shaw, and Rebecca Christensen. Big thanks to our executive producers. They're consistently week after week.
Week after week. I know Becca was at the game. What a delightful game for her to attend. Congratulations to her.
Thanks for being part of the home crowd down there.
Right. Exactly.
We heard the Seahawks chants through the TV.
I also heard how dead quiet it was when the Seahawks were backed up and towards the end zone on offense.
Yeah, that's nice. Although it didn't help us at all. Still got a safety.
It was a different drive. Yeah.
Got some new members of the flock. Well, going back to 2 weeks now because we didn't have a show last week. So we have some extra folks to thank. And thanks for hanging in there as we get get around to thanking everybody who came in to the flock, starting with Brian Call, who came in at $12.12 a month. Welcome to the flock to Brian.
Heck yeah, Brian. Yeah, coming in with the big donation.
Also in at that $12.12 level, but paying through the British currency, Darren Boulder in at £9.50.
That's awesome, man. Appreciate you helping us diversify, Darren. I like that. You never know if the dollar's just going to go sideways. Having some pounds in our life is good.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Got the Canadian dollars with Terry Burmis upping his pledge to $16.50 Canadian. So again, in at that $12.12 level. Thank you, Terry, for the upgrade, for the raise.
Man, big upgrade for the Ring of Honor with these gents.
Heck yeah. Dana Say in at $3 a month. Welcome to the flock to Dane.
Sweet, Dane. I welcome you to the Pick'em League and all that. I'm gonna have to take my L on, or my 1 week that doesn't count for the week Brandon was gone, since I couldn't do my catfish after the fact picks.
Yeah,
that week,
which we didn't get a whole lot of name suggestions for. So I'm guessing that Adam's garbage time picks is sticking for now.
Wonderful. I'm really excited.
Back on top at Venmo Corner, Stephen Kirkpatrick. He's in and came in twice. First with a 1909 donation saying back in first as it should be. And then with a 3723 donation onward to the playoffs.
Yeah. No, those are both solid. I like that he's just kind of claimed the Venmo thing. That's for sure.
Well, we had Brian try and take it for a week. He did. He claimed it for a week.
Okay.
And then Steven came in, smacked him down, said, hey, this is my corner, back-to-back weeks, coming in with the Seahawks score donation. I'm going to say, let's see, Seahawks 253 to, I don't know, it's kind of a shootout.
252?
Well, that wouldn't be possible because we need the change. So maybe 99. So 252 to 99. So that way it's the change can be the opponent's score.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah. I think we nailed that. It's a good prediction.
Yeah.
Now, will that one come true a lot like your wild ass 48 to 45? I'm pretty sure 252 to 99 would be scoregami.
That would have to be a scoregami. Yes. Yep.
Also into the flock at $12.12 a month, Naked Bootleg comes in saying, fellas, I've been freeloading way too long and I'm loving all the new content. So I'm finally joining the flock. Also, I thought the Let's Ride Curse thing was funny at first, but it's clearly working. So I am cleansing my Hawker clean and staying on your good sides. I appreciate what you do. Go Hawks. That's Ken and Stanwood.
Hey, I appreciate it, Ken, man. I like Naked Bootleg. That's also a very solid name there. Yeah, man. I appreciate you also, too, like recognizing the value for value thing here with, just a little bit extra production from our end and feeling like maybe it was time to, increase your production from your end. So appreciate that, man. I'm glad that's working out.
And we would never curse our listeners even after the freeloader grace period.
No.
Now, maybe we shorten it to 1 year, and then we do the curse after 2. But that's just me throwing things out there.
Yeah. Well, there's definite ways that we could go about it.
We would never do it, but I'm just saying I'm throwing it out there.
Right.
But we never do it.
No, we'd never do it. Never do it. Because I'm starting to scare myself with my power.
It's a little bit scary.
Yeah.
I don't think it needed to be that strong.
Wait, how less strong would you like it?
I want him to be bad without the injuries.
That's what I said. That was what the curse was entailed.
I know, but then all these people got hurt. And
yeah, well, train better.
Maybe they were going to get hurt anyway. So maybe that part is just out of our control. That's just
exactly
bad injury
right.
luck. That's not part of the curse.
Don't put that juju on me, Ricky Bobby.
Okay. It's not part of the curse. It's just bad injury luck for the Broncos this year. Coincidentally.
Right.
Coincidentally.
Yes. That happens to be coinciding with a curse on their record.
Okay. Glad we cleared that up.
Yeah.
Carlos Fuentes gave us a raise as well from 3 to 5. Carlos says, just up my pledge due to the value I'm getting from the show. So excited to win my first sports bet. I'm definitely an Almond Joy is top tier kind of guy.
Yeah.
And should be should be dark chocolate truther. A grass lawns are bullshit truther. And a rant is only a rant if you're wrong truther.
I love it. I love it. Me and Carlos are simpatico, man.
Yeah.
Catfish.
The Rams.
Catfish.
The 49ers.
Catfish.
Whatever that other team is, and go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Well, just so Adam doesn't cut out at the end of the show, I think maybe since we skipped garbage time picks for 1 week, let's just go back to back skipping garbage time picks. I still need to compile our Pick'em League champions from the last 2 weeks, so I'm going to put those winners in the show notes, and we'll get back to garbage time picks next week.
Okay, yeah, no, we can do that because the Hobo Shack is really cold and it's killing the battery really fast on the iPad.
Okay,
so yeah,
well, we'll save a little bit of battery, and we will go to Michael, who sent a message after the Cardinals game, said, "What a win last night. Defense looked competent, if not even good. Offense did enough, and Walker looks like a gem. Something fun I noticed of the Seahawks schedule this year, it's a full Geno Smith revenge tour. The Russ Bowl revenge game. We've got the Chargers next week, and we play both the Giants and Jets too, all his old teams. 1-0 so far, something fun to track. Go Hawks." And then came back in and said 2-0. Let's go.
Let's go. I had not realized the Geno Revenge Tour was in play here. That's amazing.
And in play once again with the Giants.
Yeah.
Seems like a guaranteed win then.
I was going to say, that's a guaranteed 4 wins on the year, huh?
Mm-hmm. Think so. And Jacob Haas came in and said, "Man, it must be really bad in Denver if Colin Cowherd isn't defending Russ and Russ not saying his little catchphrase." Yeah, after the loss a couple weeks ago, we saw a little bit of that.
Yeah, abandoning the think tank, cooked up, let's ride nonsense.
It's time. It's time to shelve that.
I want him to bring it back this week.
You want him to bring it back?
Yeah, because it's so god awful. It's just such a bad look.
Oh, and really, and this leads into my do better this week, because I feel like it's gotten to the point to where we're piling on Russ for everything. And so he needs the catchphrase so it doesn't go down farther, because one of the things that bothered me from this past week was seeing that there was a tweet from Zach Stevens, who looks to be a Denver Twitter reporter, saying Russell Wilson worked out and stretched for 4 out of the 8 hours on the flight from Denver to London, said he was doing high knees in the aisles when the rest of the guys were asleep. And this, to me, this is not in make fun of Russ type territory. This is who the guy is and the competitor that he is. Like, that's a long flight. You and I have taken the flight, Adam, from Calgary,
Alberta,
to London.
Mm-hmm.
And with a guy who is injured, who has a hamstring injury, stretching for 4 out of the 8 hours is probably a good idea. Like that. Why would you just sit there and watch movies if you're Russ? He's a recovery guy, and he's trying to get right to be able to play in this game. So, yeah, I saw Pat McAfee kind of dumping on him about being inconsiderate to his teammates who were trying to sleep on that flight over to London. It's just your quarterback trying to get ready for a game. For everybody dumping on Russell Wilson for stretching. We're dumping on him now for stretching and maybe doing some high knees in the aisle. This is the thing that we're giving him problems about. Now, one of the things that Pat McAfee said is that if Russ were winning, none of the things that he's doing would be of a bother to anybody. So winning takes care of a lot of problems. But for this to be as far as we've fallen, to be giving Russell Wilson grief, anybody giving him grief for this, do better.
Well, so it's not that he's doing stretches on the plane is the part that I would give him grief for. It's that Team 3 decided that this needed to be freaking leaked out to show just how competitive he is and how hard he's working to get back to the field and da. Like, just do the stretches and shut the catfish up.
Right.
Like, we didn't need to know. That's the part that I think, if you want to criticize him, that seems to be the part that bothers me.
It wasn't Team 3 that put it out. It was Russell Wilson himself. He talked after practice. One of the things that he talked about. So it's just
Russ. Who's the leader of Team 3?
The leader of Team 3, exactly.
Okay, and so do you think that he comes up with everything that he's going to say just by himself these days?
Oh,
or do you think that goes through?
Hey, Russ, make sure that you say that you were doing high knee. Like, make sure that you emphasize the fact that while every one of your teammates were sleeping, that you were walking up and down the aisles and doing high knees and working out your legs to make sure that you're ready to go. Make sure that you emphasize that you are working harder than the rest of your team in this upcoming press conference.
Yep.
That seems like more of a do better Russ type thing.
Yeah.
You don't need to dog your teammates about being asleep while you're working.
Well, even if you're not dogging your teammates by doing it, just like, who cares? Shut up. Just go stretch and play.
And win.
Just go stretch and play. Yeah. I mean, just quit inviting this crap onto you, man. Just shut up. Like, I don't talk about all my little things that I do on the daily and all my little victories to everybody. Like, I don't know how many times, like, when I come home to Brittany after a trip and she asked me how I was, like, it's fine. You know, I don't talk about all sorts of crap that happened because it just doesn't matter.
No, he had to break down the entire 8-hour flights. The first 2 hours, he was watching film. The next 4 hours, he was doing treatment. And that's when the high knees and stuff came in. And the last 2 hours, he got 1 hour of sleep and another 1 hour of watching film. So now we know the entire 8 hours were accounted for, in case you were wondering exactly how
if
that
he was
8
playing
hours
Call of Duty with Kyler on the flight.
Look, he did more prepping in one flight than Kyler Murray had to do all week.
Yeah, true fact. True fact.
Congratulations, Russ.
Congratulations, Russ. Well, I'm glad we turned your do better all the way around, but
I don't think it's worth making fun of his high knees.
Yeah, one person that needs to be made fun of, though, Brandon, for my do better this week, is the lady in the LT jersey who's giving Ken Walker the birds after he scores a touchdown. Not one bird, double birds. Double birds. And she obviously has got at least a little bit of money to be sitting where she is, you know? So it's like, you're supposed to be a high classy lady from LA. Come on, man. Like, you can't be doing that. There's a difference between booing and heckling and all that. But when it starts to get personal, she might as well have just talked about his family while he was out there at the same time. Don't be flipping people off. Don't be talking about people's family. Like, we've seen this stuff in the NBA go down. Like, it's just crossing a line. Keep it classy, OI, and do better.
I thought it was kind of awesome, though, that the reason why I found out that picture existed was because Ken Walker made that his profile picture on Twitter.
No, that was a smart move by him.
I know.
Yeah.
And then the Seahawks, they did a Photoshop job of FedEx Ground Player of the Week, and they Photoshopped extra fingers on the lady's hands and then put a white sign saying FedEx Ground Player of the Week in her hands that she was now holding.
Be careful of that. There could be a lawsuit involved in that one.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, changing somebody's likeness. I don't know, man. That doesn't seem good.
I feel like it was parody. I think that falls under fair use.
Hopefully. I did a lot of research on that as we started to do these videos. Yeah, it's a very fuzzy area.
So what the Seahawks needed to do was get a modeling release form before they did the Photoshop job. And
who knows? What if she's a professional FU hand model? Now you're cutting into her revenue, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. She might be
you don't know.
Okay. Do you change your do better? If she was a professional FU hand model, then in that case, she's just doing her job at the game.
100%. She might have been just hired to be doing her job there. No, I would take the big L on that one. You bet.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to give my better at life this week to a college offensive lineman, Johari Branch. And part of it is because I've now added this guy to my draft watch list. I broke down game film. I was doing some scouting on Twitter, but most of all, I was watching a video clip on Twitter of Johari Branch executing an almost perfect cartwheel in celebration. It caused a flag on the field by one of the refs saying it was unsportsmanlike conduct. I mean, it was a very sportsmanlike cartwheel. It was awesome. And if that 330-pound offensive lineman can execute that type of cartwheel, that's an athlete that I want on my Seahawks in the future. Johari Branch, you are better at life than Skip Bayless.
So you don't want Austin Blythe and you want the cartwheeling offensive lineman. That's what you
I don't care if he plays center, guard. He could play backup tackle behind one of our young rookies.
If he's just not Jake Curran, that'd be good. Man, he was awful.
He had a rough game coming in at guard behind Phil Haynes.
But yeah. So, but also too, like, shouldn't you be able to do a cartwheel at that age in life? Like, if you think about it, college years, that's like peak athleticism, right?
It should be. But
yeah,
let's send you back 20 years in time.
Yeah.
Put on 100 pounds and see what your cartwheel proficiency is.
I don't know that pounds make a big difference on a cartwheel.
Feel like there's a level of arm strength
there's probably
that you need to execute the cartwheel still.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I didn't think about it in those terms. Yeah.
But
you get more thigh army the fatter you get. So maybe you just have more strength.
Al Woods, even with those thigh arms, I don't know if he could execute that great of a cartwheel. I mean,
he's also old now.
Okay. He's not in his early 20s anymore.
Exactly.
It's impressive. It impressed me.
Is it more impressive than a old Marquise Goodwin just doing backflips? Like it's no big deal.
That was impressive too.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Challenge to the Seahawks. More victory formations so we can see Goodwin doing backflips.
Yeah, absolutely. We need that in our lives.
We all need it.
All right, Brandon, am I better at life than Skip Bayless this week? It's for wide receiver DK Metcalf. Thank you for not being catastrophically hurt. Oh my God, that gave me so much stress when I saw you on the cart, and because there was a little okey doke there, right? Like he gets on the cart, and he's smiling, he's like, "Nah, I'm okay." Yeah. And everybody thought it was poop time. I thought, can you just please make that poop time again?
Can your regularity pattern not be during games? Like, is that too much to ask?
It just depends. But yeah, man, he came down awkwardly on his knee. Could have been a catastrophic knee injury. I mean, when you hear out for the game, like immediately, like, oh no, like, is this how the wheels on this bus fall off? Going down the stretch here. But DK, a walking human bat suit, better at life than Skip Bayless. Too strong to get hurt.
Yeah. And plus I saw him signing autographs for our military folks who were at practice today. That was cool.
Oh, get on him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'll co-sign you're better at life too.
Perfect. Thanks for backing it up. Even though I tore all yours down today.
Well,
Yeah.
I expected to take a little bit of heat after taking a week off. And I feel like you satisfied that requirement.
I thought I was pretty welcoming to you coming back.
You're adequate.
That's adequate. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Very good.
A lot like our offensive line. I expect you to, I don't know, come a little stronger next week.
A couple more pancakes.
I think with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.